Hello everyone and welcome back to the 13 Nights of Samhain challenge. Today is day 8 and the prompt is, share your favorite recipe for the season. The recipe I'm sharing today is actually one I made for the first time last year for Thanksgiving when I was at my grandmother's house. It's a homemade pumpkin pie totally from scratch and is so good. The pies you make from canned pumpkin don't even come close to comparing. You may want to pause the video to screenshot these different instructions as the cards pop up on screen. For this recipe, I use my grandmother's pie crust recipe, which is super simple to make and is flaky and delicious. To make it, you will need 2 cups all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon salt, 2/3 cup Crisco shortening, and 6 to 8 tablespoons of ice-cold water. This pie crust recipe makes enough for 2 crusts. Either 2 bottom crusts or 1 bottom and 1 top crust. So this recipe makes enough of the pie filling to make 2 whole pies. But if you prefer, you can half the recipe and make 1 pumpkin pie and use the other half of the crust to make some other kind of pie. To make the pie filling, you will need 2 6-pound sugar pie pumpkins, 1 1/4 cups sweetened condensed milk, 2 eggs and 1 egg yolk, 1.5 teaspoons ground cinnamon, 1 teaspoon ground ginger, 1/4 teaspoon ground cloves, 1 teaspoon vanilla extract, half teaspoon sea salt, and 1/4 teaspoon fresh grated nutmeg. You also might want to have whipped cream for serving the pie, but that's optional. So the first step is to preheat the oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Then prep the pumpkins to be cooked. To do this, you cut off the tops and bottoms of the 2 pumpkins. The skins can be kind of tough, so make sure you have a nice sharp knife. And make sure you're using sugar pie pumpkins and not some other type, like the big ones you'd carve for Halloween or something. Sugar pie pumpkins are specifically designed to be denser and sweeter, so are perfect for pie, hence the name. You can usually find them at the grocery store around this time, or you can try growing them yourself. We have such bad pests here that growing squash is almost impossible, so I got mine from a farmer's market. Once you have cut the tops and bottoms off the 2 pumpkins, you can then cut them in half. Next, scrape and remove all the strings and seeds from the insides. If you'd like, you can save the seeds to roast them. Lightly drizzle some oil onto the pumpkins, both inside and out, and place with the cut sides down on a parchment paper lined baking sheet. Roast at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for 40 minutes to an hour, or until they are soft and easily stuck with a fork. Once cooked, let them cool enough to be comfortable to the touch and peel off the skins. I found that the skins peeled off very easily. Process the flesh in a food processor until completely smooth. If the pumpkins are watery, you can place the puree in a cheesecloth-lined sieve and let it drain for a few minutes or until it gets to the appropriate thickness. I didn't have this issue at all when I made my pies. Now it's time to make the pie crust. First, mix the flour and salt together in a bowl. Next, using a pastry cutter or a fork, cut in the Crisco shortening just until the mixture is crumbly. Add in cold water 1 tablespoon at a time and mix until a dough forms. Be sure not to overmix the dough though, or it will turn out tough instead of having a nice flaky texture. Next, form the dough into a ball, wrap in cling film, and chill in the fridge for 20 minutes. When you're ready to roll out the dough, flour your work surface. Cut the dough ball in half and set 1/2 aside for now. Lightly flour the second ball of dough and roll it out into a circular shape. Make sure it's about 1/4 of an inch thick all the way across. You'll need the dough to be big enough to have some overhang on your pie dish, so make sure to measure it. Now it's time to put the dough into the pie tin. First, be sure to grease the tin so the dough doesn't end up sticking. To make it easier to move the dough, you can either roll it up around your rolling pin to transfer it, or gently fold it in half and half again so it's into quarters. Then place it into the tin and carefully unfold it again. Press the dough into the pie tin and trim away any excess dough that is hanging over the dish edges. Use your fingers or a fork to crimp the edges. Poke the bottom and sides of the pie crust with a fork in several places to help prevent it from puffing up in the oven. Repeat this whole process again with the other half of the dough into another pie tin. Now bake both pie crusts at 450 degrees Fahrenheit for 10 to 15 minutes or until golden brown and fully cooked. Remove from the oven and let cool to room temperature. Now to make the filling. First, whisk together 15 ounces of the pumpkin puree you made with the sweetened condensed milk. To that, add 2 whole eggs plus 1 egg yolk and whisk it all together well. Next, add in the sea salt, cinnamon, ginger, cloves, fresh grated nutmeg, and vanilla extract. Whisk until it's smooth and fully incorporated. Pour the pie filling evenly into the 2 prepared pie crusts. Bake at 325 degrees Fahrenheit for 1 hour to 1 hour and 10 minutes, or until the custard is completely set. Remove the pies from the oven and let cool. Serve with whipped cream and fresh grated nutmeg as needed. This pie is truly delicious, and I'm looking forward to making it again this year for Thanksgiving. I hope if you try this recipe out, you will let me know how it turns out for you. Thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe, like the video, and leave a comment down below. Have a blessed day. Bye.